Good morning, students. Welcome to online classes of Sun Valley Public School. Today's topic is Social Studies, chapter number 5, Our Country. Label the landforms shown in the following pictures. You must see the images, look at the images, and you have to label their landforms. Means if it is a desert, you have to write it as desert. If it is plains, you have to write it as plain. If it is a mountains, you have to write it as mention it as mountains. And if it is plateaus, you have to mention it as plateaus. And if it is highlands, you have to mention it as highlands. So now back to the lesson. India is a big and beautiful country. It has many landforms such as mountains, plains, plateaus, deserts, and highlands. Our India is a biggest and beautiful country. It has a many landforms such as we have already discussed in previous classes about mountains, plains, plateaus, deserts, and highlands. Mountains. First, we are going to learn mountains. A mountain is a very high hill with slope, slides, and peaks. In the north of India are the Great Himalayas, the highest mountain range in the world. There are many peaks in these mountains. Most of them remains covered with snow throughout the year. See, the mountains means we always remember Mount Everest. This is the place where it is fully covered with snow. Means it is covered with ice throughout the year. And it has a many peaks. There has a many peaks covered with ice. And also a mountain is a very high hill and the slope, slides and peaks. In the north of India or the Great Himalayas. Where it is located? It is located in the north of India. Mount Everest. In Nepal, it is the highest peak in the Himalayas mountain as well as in the world. Many rivers such as Ganga, Yamuna, Satluj and Brahmaputra originate in these mountains and flows down to the plains. The central and the southern part of our country have low mountain ranges called hills. The Vindhya and the Satpura ranges are in the central India. The Nilgiris hills are in the south India. In Nepal, there is a Mount Everest. It is the highest peak in the Himalayan mountains as well as in the whole world. Many rivers such as Ganga, Yamuna, Satluj and Brahmaputra originated in these mountains and flows down to the plains. The central and the southern part of our country has a low mountain ranges called hills. They are called hills. The Vindhya and the Satpura ranges are the central or in the central India. The Nilgiri hills are in the south India. Plains. Plains are vast expanse of flat or gently rolling land. Towards the south of the Himalayas lie the Great Plains of India. Owing to the fertility of the land and the good irrigation facilities, different types of crops are grown in these areas. Many rivers like the Ganga and Yamuna flow through these plains. They make the north plains fertile as they bring fertile soil, fine alluvium particles and slit with them. Apart from the main plains, narrow strips of plains are also found along the east and west coast of India. They are known as the eastern and the western coastal plains respectively. These plains meet at Kanyakumari. Rivers such as Narmada, Tapti, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri flows through these plains and fall into the sea. So plains, now we are going to learn about plains. Towards the south of the Himalayas lie the greatest plains of India. Towards it is south of Himalayas. Owing to the fertility of the land and the good irrigation facilities, different type of crops are grown in these areas. Many rivers like Ganga and Yamuna flows through these plains. They are very closer and they flow through these plains. They make these northern plains fertile and they brings fertile soil. Fine alluvium particles are slit with them. Apart from the main plains, narrow strips of plains are also found along with the east and west coast of India. Plains meet at Kanyakumari. Rivers such as Narmada, Tapti, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri flows through this plain and fill into the river. Plateaus. The southern part of India looks like a cone on the map and has uneven and flat surface. It is higher than the surrounding plains. Land which is flat and higher than its surrounding area is called a plateau. The southern plateau covered the largest part of our country. The land here is rocky and hard. The area is less fertile than the plains. The southern plateau is also called as Deccan Plateau. There are many rivers such as Krishna, Kaveri, Godavari and Narmada that flows through the region. These rivers depends on the rain for water. Some parts of the plateaus are covered with a thick forest. So now we are going to learn about plateaus. Plateaus, they are southern part of India. It looks like a cone shape. It looks like a cone of the map and has an uneven flat surface. It has a higher than the surrounding plains. Land which is flat and higher than its surrounding area, that is called as plateau. The southern plateau. It is covered largest area of our country. The land here, it is rocky, full of rock and hard rocks are being found, and the area is less fertile than the plains. The southern plateau is also known or called as Deccan Plateau. There are many rivers such as Krishna, Godavari, Kaveri and Mahanadi that flows through that regions. These rivers depends on the rainfall. Some part of the plateaus are covered with thick forest. Peninsula. A peninsula is the landmass surrounded by the water on three sides. Peninsula is the landmass that is surrounded by water of three sides. The southern part of India is surrounded by large water bodies on three sides, hence it is called the Indian Peninsula. It has the Arabian Sea on the western sides of Bay of Bengal on the eastern side and the Indian Ocean on the southern side. Deserts. A desert is a very large sandy area. It is full of sandy area with very few water source. There is very few water source. In the northwestern part of India is the Indian desert. Towards northwestern part of India is called Indian desert or the Thar desert. The people here lead a tough life. It is very hot and dry in the daytime during summer. However, the night are quite pleasant and cool during winter. It is cold. It rains little in the desert areas. There are very few plants and trees which grows here. Peninsula means it is a landmass surrounded by water on three sides. The southern part of India is surrounded by a large water bodies on three sides. Hence, it is called the Indian Peninsula. It has the Arabian Sea on the western side. We have Arabian Sea towards the western side, the Bay of Bengal on the east side. East side, what we have? We have Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean on the southern side. Now desert. As we have read in the previous class about desert, a desert is a very large sandy area and with a very few water source. In the northwestern part of India, it is Indian desert, or we also call it as Thar desert. The people here lead a very tough life and it is very hot and dry in the daytime during the summer. However, at the night time it is quite pleasant cool during in the winter. It rains little in the desert areas. There are very few plants and trees grown in this area. Now, highlands. A piece of land surrounded by water is called an island. There are two groups of highlands in our country. Already we have read in the previous class highland how it looks. Look at this image. This we call it as highlands. So the land, a piece of land surrounded by water, that is called island. There are two groups of highlands in our country. They are Andaman and Nicobar Highland in the Bay of Bengal, the Lakshadweep Highland in the Arabian Sea. Did you all understand, children? I hope today you all understood this. And now we are going to learn about our climates. Now we are going to learn about our climate. The presence of mountains, rivers, plains and forests leads to different climate in different parts of India. So we have the presence of mountains, rivers, plains and forests leads the different climate in the different parts of India. Example, in North India, the summer are very hot and dry and the winter are very cold. This is the climate which we get in North India. The mountains have cold climate almost throughout the year. Throughout the year they have very cold climate. In coastal places it is neither very hot nor very cold. These are the difference between the mountains, rivers, plains and the forest leads different climates. I hope you all understood the lesson, children. Thank you. We'll meet you in the next class.